Good evening, folks, and welcome to another edition of Ice Wolves Insider. Well, as you know, lots to talk about this episode. Of course, the Ice Wolves win Game 7 of the Credit Union Cup final over Yorkton on home ice for their second straight Credit Union Cup. We'll talk to head coach Bob Beatty about that, as well as Ice Wolves players Nolan, Souchotte, and Dayton, Fossum. And in our usual From the Stands segment, we'll talk with Ice Wolves followers Shawn, Hallett, and Keith Kratchmer. Should be a great show. We'll see you right back. Welcome back to Ice Wolves Insider, and that is what it's all about, the Credit Union Cup. And as you know, the Orange Ice Wolves were successful in defending their title against the Yorkton Terriers. Did it on home ice, no less. Game 7, very exciting victory for the fans here. And we were talking with a couple of integral components of this Ice Wolves championship team, really the team for the last 3 seasons. That would be Captain Nolan, Souchotte, and co-playoff MVP Dayton, Fossum. Guys, welcome to the program. Congratulations on the huge victory.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.
All right. So there's been a real whirlwind of activity the last week or so, simply because you didn't really have a whole lot of downtime between the 2 series. Of course, we're talking about the Anabec Cup now. We're going to get to that in a second, but let's talk about the championship win. Has it sunk in what you guys have accomplished? Back-to-back titles. We're able to do it in a Game 7 on home ice this year. Has that sunk in? I'll start with you there, Nolan.
Not even. It's pretty surreal, actually. It's pretty tough to explain, but I mean, it's like I say, we were on the bus the next day to go to the Anabec Cup. So I mean, hasn't really sunk in yet, but I mean, we've done it, and it's just a great feeling.
Yeah, Dayton, your thoughts on this last few days here?
Yeah, it's been pretty busy, that's for sure. Like at this time last week, we were coming home for Game 7, coming back to the ranch here, and it just hasn't really hit me yet that the championship series is over and that we won it. But after the season's done, at the beginning of May, it'll definitely hit me then, that's for sure.
Yeah. So a lot of people know the story of this last series with the Yorkton Terriers. You guys actually came pretty close to winning it in Yorkton again, 2 years in a row, Game 6. People know you guys were up 3-1, ended up surrendering that lead. The Terriers go on to win it, a 1-goal game there. Maybe just talk about that game. Did you get the sense that, hey, this might actually happen today? I imagine you guys were pretty confident it was going to happen, and then it just must have been just one of those things that, for whatever reason, didn't work out. Then I'll start with you there, Dayton.
Oh, we were pretty confident, that's for sure, but it was kind of a little bit of a heartbreaker letting them back into the game and going into overtime. But we still had our mind on the goal, and we still knew that killing that penalty, that we can still come on with a W after get a little momentum after killing that penalty. So we definitely thought we could win it, but losing it was a heartbreaker. But you know, we just gotta wrap your head around it and get your head focused for Game 7.
Yeah, like it must have been kind of mixed emotions for you, because now you head to Game 7 and now you have a chance to win on home ice. You know, you definitely would have taken the Game 6 victory, obviously, but you get a chance to win it on home ice. And of course, there's a little bit of anxiety too, what can happen in Game 7. Maybe talk about that, Nolan, just the feeling in the room heading into the franchise's first Game 7, let alone for the Credit Union Cup.
That was electric in there. I mean, like it was. We were all excited, as we should be for a Game 7. I mean, all nervous, I'm sure. I mean, I know I was, and just like you could tell the focus in the room before the game. Like you could hear a pin drop in there. Everybody was just ready to go, and I had a great feeling about that night. I knew my guys were ready to go, and we came out to a big lead and early, and I mean, got the crowd fired up right away, and they pretty much carried us the rest of the way.
So I imagine you guys could hear the crowd before the game, the stomping of the feet, the cheering, and all the rest of it, just basically getting ready. What did that feel like, knowing that there was going to be another huge crowd again? I'll start with you there, Dayton.
It was pretty unreal, that's for sure. Like I was stretching there in warm-ups, and then I grabbed a drink out of the bottle there, and I was talking to Mike Bell there on the bench, and I said, this is warm-ups, and like the crowd was already in the rink pretty much, you know, like it was half full, and he was more excited, I think, for us than we were, you know, but yeah, the crowd definitely got us into the game, and it definitely took us to the W. Yeah.
So obviously, tremendous start in that game. And I'm assuming you guys are going to say that's pretty much the key to the victory. Let's talk about those first few minutes. Huge goal there. I think it was Logan Haroff that got the early goal, just a few seconds. And talk about just the feeling on the bench to see that red light go on just a few seconds in. To start with you there, Nolan.
It's a sigh of relief, actually. Just scoring that first goal is huge in any game, and especially in a Game 7 in your home ice. To get the crowd behind you like that is like right at the start of the game was big for us. Marc-Andre Carré, known for his physical play. I mean, crushed Remenda right off the start, first dump in of the game. I think it was 10 seconds in, and I mean that got us all fired up. Seeing a guy like that taking the body, it made you smile, and just knew it was going to be a good night. Got us fired up, and just carried the momentum from there.
Yeah. Then obviously a huge 2-0 goal there by you, Dayton. Maybe talk about the play, how it unfolded, and how you were able to beat Peters there with the second goal. Again, just a few minutes later.
I got the puck. I don't know if I broke up a 3-on-2 or something like that, but I knew Mark was on the ice because I saw him flying off the bench, and I just gave the puck to him because he had more speed than me, and then I just jumped up in the play, and he eventually was carrying it wide, and the D-man just kind of went with him. And then I just called for a quick drop pass, and I just tried to get a quick shot away, and eventually went over his blocker there.
Yeah. Did you have a good, when you let the shot go, did you have a good feeling about it, or was it one of those ones you didn't know right away that it was going in?
I had a pretty good feeling. I don't know if the D-man went completely with Mark, but I think it kind of screened Peters because he didn't really react that good to the puck. So I don't know. I pretty much just closed my eyes and shot the puck.
Good stuff. All right, so the 2-0 lead, that's exactly what you guys wanted. You knew the crowd was in the game. You guys were obviously fairly confident. Let's talk about like just playing the rest of that game, knowing that, listen, you know, we played mistake-free. We got this baby. Talk about that. Start with you there, Nolan.
Well, we didn't want to repeat a Game 6. We knew we had to be a little more, what's the word I'm looking for? Discipline. Thanks. So we were just make sure we stay out of the box, like still play physical, make sure that we kept our hits down, and just keep it simple, basically. And we thought that if we could do just simple things like that, it was going to be good for us.
Yeah. Dave, maybe characterize the rest of the game in terms of what you guys ended up doing the rest of that night. Obviously, we saw it go 2-1, the Yorkton scores, and then Travis Egham, I think, made it 3-1 in the second period. Maybe just talk about the team approach for the rest of that game.
We just had to keep it simple, just play some simple hockey, like Shuey said, stay disciplined, and when we get down in our end playing some defensive hockey, just don't panic. You know, in that Game 6 we panicked a little bit sometimes at the end of the third period there with the puck in that situation. But, you know, just play simple, hard hockey, chip zones, and just keep playing like you want to win. And I think that's why we came away with the W.
Yeah. Obviously, Adam Barco, co-playoff MVP, was given that award, you know, obviously for obvious reasons there. Maybe just talk about the work he did throughout the series, but also especially in Game 7. So with you, Nolan.
He was huge for us. Like you could tell just from his focus and from the start of the playoffs, we knew he was going to be a brick wall for us back there, and he showed it. He was one of our best players for sure throughout the playoffs, and especially in that Game 7. He made some big saves for us and kept us in her and led us the way. It was awesome. Yeah,
you're on the back end, obviously, so you get a really good look at some of his work there. Maybe just talk about his play.
He was definitely huge for us back there. You know, like you give him a shot from the outside, and you're pretty confident that he's going to stop the puck. So as a D-man, you can't really ask for another better goalie than Adam Barco. He definitely stood on his head for us, and especially in that Game 7, he brought his game up to another level that Yorkton just could not beat.
Yeah. Speaking of Yorkton, let's talk about the Terriers. Obviously, seemed to be a very quality opponent for you guys. They pushed you to the limits. They were playing as if it was just a one-goal deficit. When they were down by 2 goals, they just threw everything at you. Maybe talk about the quality of opponent you had there. I'll start with you then, Nolan.
They're a good team. I mean, they had a lot of big guns on the up front and a couple skill guys on the back end. And Peters, I mean, is a solid tendy. So I mean, all in all, they have a pretty deep team. And they gave us a good run. Like they took us to Game 7, and it was a war with them. They battle hard, and it was just a good series all in all.
Yeah. Dayton, I'm assuming you agree that they're a pretty tough opponent for you guys.
Yeah, they're definitely a tough opponent. We definitely had our hands full playing against them every night, you know, and you couldn't ask for another team to play like in the championship series. So yeah, they definitely had a lot of skill and a lot of grit in a couple lines, but you know, we just stepped our game up, and we definitely managed with them.
All right, let's talk about the last really minutes, maybe last few seconds. I'm not sure what you guys remember of that. Maybe it's very vivid in your memory, the last minute. Of course, the place is going nuts. People can sense the victory coming, knowing that the Terriers make up 2 goals. Maybe just talk about trying to, again, keep your emotions in check and stay focused and trying to prevent the Terriers from scoring just that last minute. I think you were on the ice there. Maybe both of you were on the ice. Nolan, talk about that.
Just don't let them score. Was basically going through my mind, trying to count down the seconds in my head, looking at the clock here and there, and just making sure that I could get in the lane of the puck if they were going to shoot, or pushing it to the outside, making sure they couldn't get a quality shot or a chance on the net, and just chipping pucks out, and just had to battle through it. And I mean, the crowd was going nuts, and I mean, we were just trying to stay calm and wait till it was over to celebrate.
Yeah, Dayton, imagine it must have been tough not to do some score clock watching there in the last little go of it. Maybe talk about that experience for you.
Yeah, it was pretty hard. Me and Byron were out there with like the last minute and a quarter maybe, and we just told each other just keep stuff simple, play hard in the corner. Don't try to ice the puck too many times, but make a hard play, just chip zones and, get in the shot lane if you have to. So yeah, we just tried to play simple, smart hockey out there, and eventually when that buzzer hit 0, we were able to celebrate.
Yeah. Talk about that celebration. I imagine there's all kinds of images that come to mind. You got family, friends, you have all these volunteers, billets. They're all obviously very excited about what's going on. Just talk about that experience, what happened afterwards, the celebration on the ice. I'll start with you there, Nolan.
It was incredible. I mean, we won it last year in Yorkton, and I didn't think it was going to be any better than that, but winning on home ice, it really takes the cake. I mean, to see all those fans just hanging over the boards, and to have the ice surface full of people afterwards, and just to hug all your players and just saying that we did it, and just an incredible feeling, and such a high that I'm going to miss that feeling for sure.
Yeah. Dayton, your take on what happened afterwards there?
Yeah, it was definitely incredible, that's for sure. Just being out there with all the people that helped you get to this spot, all the billets and the community and your friends and family, it's fun celebrating it with them, and to be out there with the buddies that you just went to war with, it's definitely pays off when you're giving your buddy a hug at the end of the day, telling them that we finally did it.
Yeah. I'm sure you guys have been asked this a million times because you guys were part of that 11-win season, but you guys still look back and how did this happen? How did we make this quick turnaround? Now we're 2-time defending SJHL champions. You still kind of almost pinch yourselves. Is this really happening?
It's pretty incredible. I mean, just to come from where we were my rookie year. I mean, all the kudos to Bob Beatty though. I mean, he found the players that wanted to work and wanted it bad enough, and I mean, we just put a team together and found all the right pieces to the puzzle, and we made it happen.
Yeah, Dayton.
Yeah, it was definitely unreal. Me and Sherry are 2 players from that team, and after that rookie year, it was a pretty rough year. But to be in this spot now, it definitely pays off to stick with it and to believe in your coaches and to believe in the community. The amount of trust that you have in those people to put together a championship team, and it's definitely something we'll never forget.
Yeah. Now, as we mentioned earlier, you didn't have a whole lot of turnaround here. You guys were basically on the bus almost right away, and had to take on the Portage Terriers, who were sitting there waiting for you guys for about a week. As it turns out, you guys lost both games in Portage. Maybe just briefly, just kind of give us your take on the Anavet Cup Series so far. What's been your downfall so far in the 2 games in Manitoba?
Well, we haven't played Ice Wolves hockey yet. I mean, the Portage Terriers came out flying the first game and really tried to intimidate us, I think, and show them what the Manitoba League's all about. And I don't think we were ready for that. I think we kind of took them for granted. And I mean, we just came out of a Game 7 series. They were a little banged up, but I mean, not using that as an excuse. But I mean, they came flying, and they're a good team. They're a good skating team, and we didn't really give them the credit that they deserved. And I think now that coming back to the Mel, I think we're a little bit better prepared and know what to expect from them. And I mean, I don't think they've played in a rink like this before. And once they see a couple fish flying on the rink, I think they'll be a little intimidated.
Dayton, you get the final word on this Anavet Cup Series, what you've seen so far and what you're seeing perhaps coming in the next few days here?
Yeah, they're definitely a good team, and we, like Drew said, we haven't came out and played our game yet this series, and like we haven't played with the emotion that we have in the SJHL championship type of deal, and we gotta find that emotion and find that heart, to come back from this series. And I know that we definitely got it, and the rest of the boys here, and just to play some gritty, tough hockey, and I think that's what's gonna do it for us.
All right. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for being on the program, and again, congratulations on back-to-back titles. Appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
All right, if you're just joining us, this is Ice Wolves Insider, and we've been chatting with Ice Wolves players Nolan, Souchotte, and Dayton Fossum. We'll be right back with head coach Bob Beatty.
Some people think wetlands are wastelands. Actually, marshes and other wetlands are important ecosystems, home to an amazing diversity of wildlife. Without them, some species would disappear. We would suffer too, since wetlands help purify and control the levels of our water. Many of these fragile areas are being lost to development, so let's do what we can to protect wetlands. To learn more, visit hww.ca.
Welcome back to Ice Wolves Insider. This time we're chatting with Ice Wolves head coach Bob Beatty. Bob, welcome to the program. And again, congratulations on a second straight Credit Union Cup victory for the La Ronge Ice Wolves.
Thanks very much, Kelly. Happy to be here.
Yeah. So
with the trophy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So obviously these are very exciting times indeed for really the entire community, not just the team or the franchise. Maybe just talk about what you've accomplished here. I'm not asking you necessarily to toot your own horn, but just talk about just your, I guess, the feelings about winning this very hard-fought series and being able to do it on home ice this year.
Well, it was very special. It certainly was. Not discounting, our first championship here in La Ronge last year was very special. But to win it on home ice was definitely special. We did give up the lead in Game 6, and it was unfortunate. We could have used a couple more days rest and recovery for sure, but I have to say, to see the Mel the way it was and to be able to share it with the community and all the fans and everybody involved was very special. It was almost worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about gearing up for Game 7. Like this was, I'm not sure about whether some of these players have done this at other levels of hockey or something like it, but for this franchise, this has never been. There's never been a Game 7 on home ice, let alone for all the marbles, the Credit Union Cup. What do you tell the guys in a situation like that, especially given, I guess, the circumstances of Game 6, what led you to a Game 7? How did you guys approach this as a coaching staff for Game 7?
Well, there were Game 7s are a special event in the sporting world. There's no question about it. And there was only a handful of players in our dressing room that had played in a Game 7. As far as putting Game 6 behind us, we did that before we left the dressing room in Yorkton. You can't control what's already over, and it was unfortunate. We just had to learn a hard lesson, and we just absolutely put it behind us. We just needed to focus on winning a game at home and getting prepared for a one-game showdown. And fortunately for us, we were on home ice, and fortunately for us, Harry was able to score on the first shift, and as the boys indicated, Mark had a big hit, and we did score, and the Mel erupted, and we fed off that energy, and it's certainly something that we're very grateful for, and that we're going to need in the Anavet Cup games.
Yeah, and not just obviously Logan Harroff's goal, but Dayton Fossum's goal shortly thereafter. We've seen lots of times where you guys are swarming the team in the opening minutes on home ice, and sometimes it's still 0-0. How gratifying was it to see it 2-0 after just a few minutes in?
Well, it was very gratifying, and there was a lot of hockey left to be played, certainly, and we had to keep our focus. But it's a little easier to feed off the crowd and the electricity in the building, and keep motivated. When you have that kind of an atmosphere, and to build a lead was definitely a heck of a lot better than trying to come out from behind.
Yeah. Now, over the course of the season, because you guys are quite the powerful offensive outfit, we've seen that lead turn into a 3-goal, 4-goal lead. It ended up being a pretty close game throughout. Maybe just talk about how tough it was to I guess contain the emotions and also come away with the victory, knowing that it was going to be basically a close game, right, for the entire 60 minutes there.
Well, it's human nature to start thinking about the outcome, and when you start thinking about the outcome, you're not living in the present and thinking sharp and making plays with and without the puck, play by play, and that's definitely what we needed to focus on. And the result will look after itself if you do the little things and play detailed, again with and without the puck. That if you make good plays, it all adds up to a victory, and then the outcome is what it is.
Yeah. So obviously you guys got a stellar goaltending yet again from Adam Barco. Maybe talk about, I guess, what he contributed to that Game 7 victory in particular.
Well, Bart's was stellar. He came through in a big way. They had some good scoring chances. A 2-0 lead or a 3-1 lead is certainly, against a team that's as explosive as the Terriers, it isn't enough. Bart's did make some fantastic saves, and he was very solid that night, and for that matter, throughout the playoffs.
Yeah. So again, to do this on home ice, we have the celebration afterwards. Is there any particular moment that will stand out for you when you think back to this championship year? You obviously have had a few SJHL championships between this team and Humboldt, but what will stand out for you in terms of like the moments just after the game there?
Well, you certainly never get tired of winning a championship, and this one was, as I said, very special. To be honest, there's a lot of special moments, just congratulating the players on their accomplishment, and shaking hands with the coaches, but we really have to start thinking ahead, and from the moment we got on the ice and started celebrating, there was a lot of work to be done to prepare for departure the next day, and a lot of things to be done and details to be taken care of. So you're always going ahead to the next game, and as a coach, I think you have to think that way. As Nolan and Dayton said, we didn't have a lot of time to savor the moment, which was unfortunate, but that there's lots of time after we're finished in May to celebrate and bang each other on the shoulders and congratulate each other at that point. We've got a lot of work to do right now, and in order to accomplish what our goal is.
Yeah. We'll get to the Portage Series in just a second here. One other thing I wanted to ask you about just the SJHL Championship. Obviously, two of the teams that you beat, Melfort and Yorkton, were not just quality outfits, but they're also teams that kind of went for broke this year in terms of some of the moves they made throughout the year at the trade deadline. And some people would say perhaps they mortgaged a large chunk of their future to make this happen. Did it make it even a little bit more sweeter for you, knowing that you went a different approach? You decided to basically just kind of tinker and stick with what you have and not mortgage your future, and be able to beat these teams that really went for broke?
time will tell whether whether they're gonna pay the price for that or not. I guess it was maybe a little bit sweeter in the fact that we know that we're going to have a solid competitive team next year, and we didn't buy into trying to mortgage the future to get a championship. And it's a lot of credit to the guys. They, if we felt that we needed better players to win a championship, we would have tried to get them. But they instilled a lot of confidence in us over the course of the year, and we felt we had what it takes.
Well said. Okay, the Anabec Cup Series, obviously we've already had the first couple of games in Manitoba. Not the way I'm assuming the team wanted to see those games go. Maybe just for a lot of fans, they haven't seen the games, maybe heard them on the radio perhaps. How would you describe what has happened so far? Why you find yourself down 2-0 in this series?
Well, I think Friday night, we really looked fatigued, mentally and physically. We didn't have a lot of jump. When you play a championship series and play 7 games the way we had to play to beat the Yorkton Terriers in in 11 or 12 nights, with 3 overtime games, every other game is 1 or 2 goal game essentially. Aside from the empty net goals in the first 2 games, it takes its toll, mentally and physically. And I was a little afraid that we might come out a little flat Friday night, and sometimes you hate to be a prophet. It just they put a lot into the championship series, and you can only expect so much out of a human body. So I thought we played a lot better Saturday night, to be quite frank. The score didn't indicate that, but I thought we were quite a bit better, had a little more jump. We're thinking a lot better, a little more structured. A couple of bad breaks we didn't execute. We didn't get to score on our 5-on-3 halfway through the second period, and then they come down and and get a goal. A huge turning point. I'm certainly not throwing Adam under the bus, because he's got us to where we are, but his performance wasn't as good as we're used to, and we've dug ourselves a little bit of a hole, but we certainly don't count ourselves out by any stretch of the imagination. We've got a game Tuesday night at home. If we win, we're right back in the series, and then we look forward to Wednesday. If we can even it up Wednesday, and then we can take a lead Thursday. We just have to go one step at a time, prepare to get back in the series Tuesday night, and we're fine.
How much do you think the home ice factor is going to help you? You're going to have the fact that, of course, you're going to have perhaps a little bit more time for the team to get its legs under it for this series, but also just the use of the surroundings, the ice surface, and then of course you have the crowd. Do you think that's going to be a pretty huge swing in your favor?
Well, I think if the crowd is anything like it was, last Tuesday night for Game 7, it certainly will be a huge advantage. It's a little harder to adjust to our rink than it is for us to adjust to a bigger ice surface, and I think it'll be some advantage, but we have to make sure that we play Ice Wolves hockey and take advantage of our home ice and take away time and space. They'll be fully prepared to deal with it. Whether they can or not, I guess remains to be seen.
Yeah. All right. Well, Bob, again, congratulations on the championship victory. Again, you made the community very proud, and thanks very much for being on the program.
Thanks very much, Kelly. My pleasure.
All right. Just joining us, this is Ice Wolves Insider, and we've been chatting with Ice Wolves head coach Bob Beatty. We'll be right back with From the Stands.
and the home crowd definitely was a factor.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah, and obviously they earned it with.
The Warramps is a big family. It's people who I can relate to who have amputations like me.
It's like a big support group.
It's allowed me to reach goals that I never thought possible.
My prosthetic limbs the Warramps gave me help me so much. I can do running, snowboarding,
play guitar, ride my bike, skip rope, play soccer. I can run really fast.
I play hockey.
I can do what you can do, and that's what the Warramps does for people.
Welcome back to Ice Wolves Insider. At this point, we're going to be joined by Ice Wolves followers Shawn Hallett and Keith Kratchmer for our usual From the Stand segment. Gentlemen, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Kelly.
Thanks.
All right. So obviously, very exciting times for Ice Wolves followers. Not only is it back-to-back championships for LaRange, but this time, obviously, they got to do it home ice in Game 7, no less. Maybe just from a fan's perspective, just talk about what it was like just to witness that bit of Ice Wolves history the other night. I'll start with you there, Keith.
Oh, it was great. Just the number of fans there and the celebration was just something to behold. It was something I'll never forget.
Yeah.
The loud noise and the eruption and the players' jubilation after the win, just really something to see in person.
Yeah.
And then the ceremonies after too, and all the introductions and the fans still cheering. It was great.
Yeah, Shawn, your take on? I'm sure you've had a few days now to think about it.
Oh yes, I agree completely with Keith. It was something to behold. Really, I'd rather have been done in Yorkton in Game 6, but this in the cards didn't work out. But I think it was a real treat for the 1,300 plus that were in attendance to actually see that. We sold out tickets at like 2:30 the day of. It was something that I haven't seen, and I'd really like the trend to continue, and I think the guys, they put on a great season. I think the community can relate with them, they're all great guys, good hockey players. Yeah, it was, I won't forget it for sure.
Yeah. Keith, you've been, especially like a long-time follower, did some of the past years, I guess, ghosts kind of disappear with, well, maybe it happened last year with the championship team, but just, I don't know, were you thinking perhaps about past years and just how long it's taken for the Ice Wolves to get to the championship level and to see it finally happen on home ice? I don't know, was that one of the thoughts that was going through your mind there the other night?
Well, I thought that, we won it last year, so maybe it's Yorkton's turn this year. And then to win it on our ice, to reverse from what it was last year. But after the first period, we got those 2 quick goals, and then we played a very good second period, I knew that we had it. And I knew it was just a matter of how we're going to celebrate it and what the celebration was going to be. So I think fairly early in the game, the ghosts were eliminated.
So what do you think did it for the Ice Wolves? Because obviously this is a very tough opponent in the Yorkton Terriers. They were loaded for a championship run as well. Obviously they fell just short. What do you think was the difference between the Ice Wolves and the Terriers? That it seemed to be a pretty slim margin, but what do you think finally did it? I'll start with you, Shawn.
I think it all boiled down to team chemistry and who wanted it more. Because they're a very skilled hockey team, and my hat's off to them. They are. Clark Barkrates, that Colfie, Peters, the goaltender, like
Boyer.
They're, Boyer, Buzzio, Vic on defense, Tendler, right? Mm-hmm. Armenda, those guys, they're good.
Yeah.
But, I can't comment on what the train of thought was over there. But Bob and Gavin never tinkered with our lineup. They had faith in those guys. They stuck with it. They were willing to learn. The guys took on the roles that were assigned. And the proof is in the pudding, right? Both teams wanted it, but I think we had better depth chemistry. And, Adam played just where he needed to play, right? I'm a big Barco fan, so yeah. I'm probably not the good guy to ask that, but like he I think for him, stopping that penalty shot at home, that was huge, confidence-wise. And I really believed Game 6 that it was over, that we were going there and winning it, because it was exactly like last year, and we didn't have a Liam Brennan to get a hat trick in overtime, but and really, all intents and purposes, we had them, and we really did outplay them. The 3-0 loss, well, that will just, that's minor, really. It's a bump in the road. But I think all in all, we just wanted it more. You know, and the home crowd definitely was a factor.
Yeah.
You know, oh, huge.
Yeah, and obviously they earned it with the regular season finish.
Yes,
that's why you try and finish on top, is to get that Game 7.
Yeah.
Keith, what do you think was the difference in the series for the Ice Wolves?
Well, I think first of all it was great to see the top two teams in the final. That really made it exciting. And with the Ice Wolves too, when they lost the games, they always came back. So I had faith in them that, you know, they could do it. That it wasn't going to be, well, they're losing heart, they're going to melt the next game and, you know, just not win that one. But I knew that they could come back any game. Like Shawn said too about the chemistry, they had the same team basically for the whole year. So that helped a lot. They didn't bring anybody new in. They didn't have to get used to the other teammates, and the teammates didn't have to get used to them. And then Adam as well. He played with what is the trophy that the most valuable player trophy with
Dayton Fossum.
with Dayton,
yeah.
And he certainly deserved it. So the goaltending was up to par with theirs.
Yeah.
You know? And then coaching by Bob and Gavin too, just very good coaching. They made adjustments when they had to, and that carried them through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and obviously seemed to be a team that was quite prepared. Like you know, you take a look at with confidence at what they've got behind the bench there. Gavin, Scott Haggerty as well. A lot of people.
Yeah.
You know, that's a guy that's undervalued in my opinion as an assistant. So anyway, let's talk about the Nunavut Cup Series. People weren't sure where to make this. I think some people were wondering how is this going to go, because you know, even though the team is not going to make excuses ahead of time, and I don't think is making excuses now. There really was a short turnaround after such an emotional, hard-fought series. From a fan's perspective, it kind of looks like that's what kind of happened there in Manitoba. Portage, it looks like they're a pretty good team. But Shawn, you had a chance to see those games. What did you see in those games, the two losses there by the Ice Wolves to the Portage series?
Well, I think, you know, fatigue comes to mind for sure on Friday. You know, we only played really both games about 12 minutes of 60. You know, on Friday's game, you know, the boys are playing, they're tired. I'm not making any excuses, and they'd be the first to say. But, you know, I'm not taking it away from Portage, but we're playing at maybe 10, 15%, and we're making a game of it. You know, and I'm sitting here, you know, as a fan and being on the executive, and I'm thinking, okay, you guys, like, you know, this is not the Dauphin team we faced last year. There's no big guns out there. They're very well balanced. They have 4 lines. They're a younger team. They got good goaltending, but there's nobody that can really wow you. And I'm not saying that because I'm biased. That's really how it is. And I'm thinking, well, like Yorkton is better than these guys. So is Melfort, really, for that matter. And like, what is going on? And then, you know, you start watching, you start thinking, and you take away the fan side and actually look at the game and thinking, well, these guys, yeah, they're tired. You know, and I'm not making excuses, but that's just what I took from it. You know, it wasn't the reffing, it wasn't the home ice. It's a beautiful building. Maybe the ice itself wasn't up to snuff. You know, lots of bouncing pucks. You know, passing was a little bit off maybe because of the ice. But I think that quick turnaround on a bus for 13 hours, you get there, you're not, you know, you're still kind of really emotionally kind of coming down. You know, because they put a lot of effort in all the playoffs, all 3 rounds, really. Yeah. And I think that's really what it was. But when they played, we have them. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. Keith, obviously you haven't seen the games. Maybe you've heard how they turned out. What are your thoughts coming into games, I guess hopefully games 3 through 5 here on home ice? Think the Ice Wolves have a decent chance of bouncing back in this one?
Well, just getting back to the Portage games, listen to them both on the radio, and well, first of all, Portage had what they finished their opponents off in 5, so they had the full week. Yeah. And plus our bus ride. So the tiredness factor had to be a factor in there. Not certainly the whole reason, because Friday we had a terrible first period, but then we tied them, and we ended up losing. So the effort was there, we just didn't come up far enough. Saturday, some more lapses. Just in our end, we just didn't stop them when we should have, and we did have some spurts there, but they just kind of snuffed them out. So we just kind of became deflated and didn't seem to have the energy to come back. But here, I think it's going to be different. They're back in familiar territory, and if we get the fans that we had last week with the noise and everything, I mean, that's that's going to get the adrenaline flowing for sure, and I think that's going to be a big advantage, plus the smaller ice surface. And Portage will be tired with the ride, although we had the ride back too, but still, they've never been here. They don't know what this territory is like, so I think that'll be an advantage. Plus, I think we're just going to play Ice Wolves hockey, and if we do, I think we'll be fine.
Should be a very intriguing matchup. People are wondering how this is going to turn out for sure in Game 3. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being on the program. Appreciate that.
Oh, you're
welcome.
Thank you.
All right. Just joining us, this is Ice Wolves Insider, and this has been another From the Stand segment. We've been joined by Ice Wolves followers Keith Kratchmer and Shawn Hallett. We'll be right back to wrap things up. Well, that's all the time we have for this evening's edition of Ice Wolves Insider. I hope you enjoyed it. I want to thank our special guest this evening. That would be Ice Wolves head coach Bob Beatty, as well as Ice Wolves players Dayton Fossum and Nolan Souchotte, and of course our fans and from the stands, Shawn Hallett and Keith Kratchmer. Again, that's all we have for this evening's show. We'll see you next time.
Sorensen. Up ahead, Fossum on the right side. Here is Carey in across the line. Harrop is in front of Shawn. He scores! Dayton Fossum power play goal, 2-0 LaRange. And for Fossum, believe it or not, his first of the playoffs.